My name's Geoff. I worked at Morgan Stanley, and that was based in Canary Wharf. Well, originally, I started looking online on websites such as Milkround, and I was just looking for year-long placements within finance. I also used the placement office as well to find out, any other smaller institutions that were hiring for an accounting placement. But a lot of them weren't really suitable for me. I just wanted to work predominantly in an investment bank or professional services firm. And then I finally managed to secure an interview with Morgan Stanley after months of trying all different other investment banks. And I think I still got it in around about April. So it was pretty late, but I was happy to secure it in the end. Initially, I got a lot of interview practice in the placement office, mainly because they were able to give me tips on how to answer questions and how much depth to go into. And it was mainly competency questions where I wanted a lot of help. So they helped me prepare for that, and they also gave me a lot of confidence as well, because I was able to secure interviews based on what I looked like on paper. So if I look good on paper, then I just had to have confidence that I'm the right candidate for the role. So they gave me a lot of ongoing support in terms of interview practice and boosting my confidence. I worked in, it was an operational type role, and to put it quite simply, it's basically helping confirm trades with our clients. So as you know, traders and sales will confirm deals over the phone or via email with their clients. And my role was just to basically confirm the details of the trade. So let's say, for example, a client buys 1 million Vodafone shares. I'm just basically making sure that the expiry on the shares is correct, on the option is correct. Also making sure that it's the right amount of shares, and any other problems that the client has, they will come to me as a first point of contact, and then I'll liaise with the sales and trading department to make sure that everything is correct the way it should be. And my favourite parts of the role were it was quite diverse. I had a lot of client interaction. Also, the role itself encouraged me to learn about different products and different asset classes. So they encouraged me to go on training courses, and I was able to sit with other desks and other teams within the bank and also explore potential areas where I may be interested in the future. I think it was a lot more intense than I thought it would be, and you have quite a short time frame to do a lot of things, so you may be given a deadline within about 2 or 3 hours. Sometimes your day may not go to plan, so you may have certain tasks to do, but then out of the blue, somebody may say they need this or they need that, and it needs to be completed within the next few hours. So you need to sort of manage expectations. So I think that's the main thing surprised me, mainly because of the fact that I've just come from university, so I'm mainly used to doing things on my own time. So I think that's one of the things that surprised me. If something goes wrong within an investment bank, like any error that somebody may make, then they feel as though there's a need to change the whole process. And I think that's one of the things that I didn't really find necessary at times, because those times when I made mistakes and management felt as though they needed to change a certain process, all because of me. And I felt it was just a one-off and it wouldn't really happen again, but they felt they need to do that. So I think that's one of the things that I didn't like. At university, it's like you may have a deadline for Friday, and you may say, okay, I'll wait until Thursday to do it, and I could spend the whole night doing it. But within a working environment, there's a reason for a deadline. It's because the actual work is needed. So in order to make that adaptation, I just always thought about the outcome. I thought about the people who are asking for the actual task or project to be done. And I think that having that state of mind is what helped me to meet those deadlines. So I think that's one of the most important things, to ensure that you just know your environment, know that you're in a working environment, you're not relying on yourself at university. So it's just thinking about the consequences and thinking about your team that helped me make the adaptation. Well, working for a whole year naturally made me a lot more mature, and it made me approach my work a little bit differently. So I know, for example, I have a dissertation in final year, and it's just all about time management. I think the most important thing was time management. So in final year, you have 5 modules, and it's just about managing your own expectation. So I think that's mainly the main thing that's prepared me for final year. I would say to the students looking for a placement to stay persistent, because in all, I only had 2 interviews, and I made so many applications. My first interview was in January, which I only got through to the first round, and then my second interview was Morgan Stanley, and that was in April. So for me to secure a placement in April just showed how persistent I was to ensure that I secured a placement. So I'd say one of the most important things is to stay persistent and to do your research on the company as well that you're going for. Don't just apply and not do any research, because at the end of the day, when you go into the interview, you want to sound enthusiastic as possible, because that can make a difference between getting an offer and not getting an offer. So I'll say that's probably the best advice I could give. Definitely, I felt very supported, because going to the placement office and having the practice. I actually had practice for my first interview, which was in the January, and I didn't get that. And I still continue to go to look at other roles and speak to the advisors at the placement office, and they knew how determined I was, so they were giving me ongoing support. So I made a lot of appointments in the lead up to my interview at Morgan Stanley, and then the subsequent assessment centre. So they gave me a lot of support and advice. So definitely they were instrumental in me securing the offer. It makes you an all-round better candidate. I would say also you learn about the industry that you're working in. So I learned a lot more about finance outside of my actual role in my division. My dissertation is based on what I did on placement. So I'm going back to Morgan Stanley next week, and I'm going to do 5 interviews with some of the people that I met in different divisions. So I think contacts is definitely the most important thing. And there's people that I've met within the industry of finance that I still speak to now that didn't necessarily work at my company. It's just that I've been introduced to other people at networking events. So I think definitely it's just helped me a lot overall. So yeah, contacts, networking opportunities, learning about the industry, and also it gives you an opportunity to see whether or not you want to work in that industry. Because I worked in finance, I like finance, but then there's people that I was on a placement with, they don't like finance. They said that they don't want to work in the industry. So definitely it gives you an eye opener, and it gives you a break from university at the end of the day, because it makes you, it will definitely make you do better in your final year. That's the bottom line. So definitely there's a lot of motivation to undertake a placement.